Dark color strategy in Sicilian Najdorf. You might say, I've never heard about something like this. What is dark color strategy? In some openings we have white color or dark color strategy, and if you don't believe it, let's go and watch a game by the master of Sicilian Najdorf, Garry Kasparov. This game has been played in the year 2017 in the St. Louis Rapid and Blitz. The white player in this game is Lenier Dominguez, a grandmaster from Cuba, a theoretician, which now he represents the United States. And the player of the black pieces is none other than Garry Kasparov, the best player ever that played with the black pieces. Let's go and watch the first moves of this game in the real scene and see how they started the game. This is current position of Sicilian Najdorf, and as you can see, Lenier Dominguez played h3 in the 6th move. Surprise for this game against the legend, against Garry Kasparov, h3. I told you that in Najdorf you should be prepared for everything, and here we see that Garry replied with e6, g4 and h6. Let's go and watch this game over the chess.com board. Now let's watch the game from the first move, and Lenier Dominguez started this game with pawn to e4. His rating during this game was 27.58. He's a very strong super grandmaster, and Garry Kasparov replied with his love Sicilian defense. This is 12 years after Garry Kasparov retired from chess, and he's not an active chess player when he played this game. He's retired, he's not a professional player, but he plays with his love. He's a chess lover, and he of course replies with Sicilian defense. And knight f3, d6, d4, and we have open Sicilian, and here Garry plays Sicilian Najdorf. In this video I will continue the approach of strategical covering of Sicilian Najdorf. I will teach you the dark color strategy in this video, and I hope it's useful. And if you want me to cover this theoretical and background of and theoretical lines, please let me know in the comments. I will also show you some lines and some theories about Sicilian Najdorf in the later videos. If you know Lenier Dominguez, he's one of the theoreticians of modern chess. His understanding of openings, especially with the white pieces, is phenomenal, and it's very hard to play against him with the black pieces actually. And Garry in this game, without any fears, he plays Sicilian Najdorf. And Lenier cooked h3 for this game. He wanted to play some positional lines against Garry Kasparov, because you know Garry is a tactical player, and it's better to not go into dark jungles and wild jungles with him in tactical lines. So he just decided to play h3, and Garry, after some thought, he played e6 once again in this game. So it's very probable that Lenier Dominguez decided to play h3 because he was thinking that, okay, Garry will reply with e5 and he will have some. After e5 you can see that in this game, for example, after knight d2, white has white color strategy. He wants to gain space after gain control over the d5 square and over the f5 square, and in some positions even playing c4. So in Sicilian, white pieces usually have this white color strategy. But what is black color strategy? Garry plays e6, and against this Lenier played g4. And you can see that right from now white puts many of its pawns on the white color squares. And when you put your pawns on white color squares, then what happens is you leave the dark color squares alone. And look at these squares right now. And Garry plays h6. He says, you're not going to play g5. I'm going to have control over this square. Bishop g2. And this is a very radical decision by Garry Kasparov. In this position he plays pawn to g5, a move which shows us the understanding of Garry Kasparov from this position. And you should go into the game. This is a blitz game, and Garry Kasparov knows that Lenier is a very good theoretician, and Garry is probably not prepared for this game. To have he might forget the lines or other things, but he decided to play on his own at this position, and he decided to play on his own strategical understanding of chess pieces and chess squares. With g5, Garry secured the e5 square for his knight. This is the message that he's sending to Lanier. He says that, okay, I'm going to put one of my knights on e5, and you're not going to kick it out. And I'm having control over the f4 and h4 and e5 square. And probably Lanier played the best, bishop to e3, and now knight to d7, queen e2. These are the best moves, and now knight to e5 by Garry Kasparov. He cement his knight on e5, and here, okay, Lanier says, okay, I'll just simply castle, and this is everything is good. But look, he's not. Garry is not playing by opening, for example, theoretical knowledge. He's playing by his understanding. He plays knight f to d7. This is fantastic chess game. He knows that if in long term he has good advantage, he has the control over the dark squares, and if Lanier is not able to break through in this position, then his position is very good. And Lanier decided to play h4. By the way, he's playing the best moves of engines till now. And here rook g8. How do you going to croak open my position? Okay, you take, I will just take back. You have the control over the h file. You have control over everything, but you cannot break through. There is no way. And here he also played the best move of engines. And Garry, and look, Lanier Dominguez just spent like more than 2 minutes for just these 14 moves of the game, and it shows that he's stuck. He doesn't know how to respond to this. He knows that he should do something quick, and for this move he barely used some like 1 minute, and after that he realized that, okay, he should just play king b1, and Garry just simply plays b5. He didn't even use 15 seconds till now. This is marvelous. And now a3, bishop to b7. The bishop is coming out, and after this, I'm not sure how he should continue. Engines suggest that put your knight on a2 and then to b4, but this is not humanistic. And after this, after the knight going to b4, I don't see the next move. Probably white should, in some positions, play some sacrifices on f5, but it's easier to say than done. But how you're going to do it? Lanier just played bishop c1. He wants to control his queenside, which his king is already there. Rook c8, some threats is coming. Probably in some position I'm just going to take it. And he says, okay, I'm playing rook h3. As you can see, chess.com engine still gives white a good advantage, but here Garry Kasparov thought a little bit about this position. He can play bishop to e7 or bishop to g7. I like bishop g7 actually, but this pawn on g5 will be vulnerable. But then bishop to f6 maybe, and then some kind of maneuvers. But Garry decided to start another kind of maneuver, and he puts this knight on g6. Look at this beautiful move. He vacated the e5 square for the other knight to come to e5, and this knight might use h4 or f4. This is the dark color strategy that I'm telling you. These pawns on e4 and g4 are not playing in the game, and black with this e6 pawns control all of the white squares, but this is not the case for white. His f pawn cannot control the dark squares because of this g5 pawn. And here Lanier just played bishop h1. It shows his frustration of doesn't know what to do in this position. Garry Kasparov outplayed his opponent in 15 moves with black pieces. His opponent is a super grand master. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous to watch. And after bishop to h1, he just puts this knight on e5. Rook to g3. And here, you can see it. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what to do. This is it. He just plays... Probably rook h5 was better, but he just plays rook g3. He says, okay, I'm just going to guard my pawn. And here, Garry just plays bishop e7. He has the control over the time. Probably bishop g7 was good also, but bishop, who am I to criticize Garry Kasparov? And now rook h8. Look, his understanding is something different. Is dynamical understanding and strategical understanding of this position. And here, rook came to c3. It shows, I mean, Lanier doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what to do in this position. It says, okay, I'm just going to exchange pieces. And after knight c3, Garry is just playing and gradually improving his position. Queen to c7. Perhaps I will put my queen on c5. Perhaps on c7 is good. And he's enjoying this game. I mean, this is what we are saying in this channel, enjoy chess and life, and Garry is enjoying it. Bishop g2 and now queen to c4. He's saying, okay, I'm also going to trade queens with you. Probably knight f4 is the move that chess.com saying, and it says after bishop takes f4, g takes f4, black is completely better. Queen can not this is knight. Queen goes to b6, and this is but probably Garry doesn't want to give white some queen d2 ideas to attack this f4 pawn. I'm not sure, but his move is also very great. Queen c4, especially in practical terms. After queen takes c4, here he thought a little bit. I was thinking that he might probably takes with the knight, but he just took with the pawn, and it's why he wanted to have his pressure on this pawn. And after f3, the rook invade the white's army. Rook goes to h2, and I mean the position is collapsing, and knight comes to f4. In this position, white decided to play bishop e3, and it seems like that white is holding. It seems like that white is holding. Look at the black pieces. I mean, look at them. They are all on the dark colors. And here Garry comes with an idea which is very great. Pause the video if you can see, if you can find this idea, and please like the video if you want to see more of this kind of videos. And in this position, Garry Kasparov just regrouped his bishop to d8, and he wants to put it on b6 and put pressure on the king side. The bishop is going to b6. This is I just love this game. The way that Garry played this game is just, it's very hard to imagine that he was like 54, 53 years old when he was playing this game. It's absolutely great game. Here, Dominguez played rook d2. Maybe knight d2 e2 was a better idea, but you can see if you play knight d2, you're losing this control over the f3, and it's very hard to play it. He played rook d2, but after rook takes d2, bishop takes d2, bishop goes to b6. Now it's very hard to defend this f3 pawn, and if bishop e3, he can just simply take on d4, and after bishop takes d4, knight takes f3 will grab the pawn. So Lanier decided to take on f4, and now g takes f4, and now we have this monster in the game. This monster exists, and here knight c2, he wants to just keep everything safe, but now d5, these two monsters are joining the game. He takes d5, bishop takes d5. This is just over. Bishop to g2 here, probably bishop takes d4, knight takes d4, knight takes g4 was just grabbing a complete pawn, but Garry decided to play tactically. He plays knight takes g4, and after knight takes f4, knight comes to e3. It's very hard to play this game. This knight is hanging, this bishop is hanging. c3 was the best idea, but he just played knight d2 e2, and now take, bishop takes f3, and look, Garry has his time advantage. He won a pawn, and after knight f4, king e7, e5, knight to h4, bishop to e3 check, and now bishop takes f4. And we can see the rest of the game in the video how Garry finished off this game. Now let's go and watch the last moments of the game and see how Garry plays this game. And you can see that he's feeling the game. You know, he's in the mood to destroy white, and at this position he's just taking his time. We saw this, and he just took the knight, and after knight takes f3, he's just activating his king with king to e6, b3, and here he just plays e4. Good control over the game. King d5. Garry was also very great in time pressure. He was doing very great in time pressure, and especially in the endgame, he was very good endgame player. Also knight to f5, and you can just take the pawn on c3, and you take it. I guess it's time to resign for Lanier, and at this position, he decided to shake hands with Garry Kasparov, and look at the man. He won this game. A very beautiful game by Garry Kasparov. I hope you learned a lot of things in this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. This was a phenomenal game to me. I mean, Garry's understanding of this game was very high, and he teaches us a lot of things, even when he was retired, about Sicilian Najdorf. And if you like this video, please like it and share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe button, and enjoy chess and